Right or not? So therefore, the delegation also now, another thing which can create a problem is while delegating, identify the right person to do the right task. So of course you are doing this, not that you are not doing it. It is again interpersonal skills, their attitude towards you and your attitude towards your team members. Ultimately, if it's a win-win situation, if you are very happy at work, I think you are happy people. Unfortunately, the problem arises when you get under pressure. When you are under pressure, so neither life is good for you nor for your team members. And at that time, under pressure, according to me, the efficiency suffers. Efficiency suffers only when you are under pressure. So if you are ahead of time, you will not be under pressure and the efficiency will not suffer. Then last time I said, if you are not assertive, if you are accepting everything, at that time if you are accepting everything again, you will have eventual difficulties. You see, the leadership has lots of responsibilities. Yes, there are lots of, you have the power to address people, but then basically if there is a problem, the leader has to identify. Smaller leader or bigger, whether you lead 10 people or 1,000 people, you have to identify. 1,000, then you will make your juniors who are leading, say, just as you are having one department head. So likewise, but monitoring is very important. You can have a system of monitoring, whether everybody is doing or not. So ultimately, you know your job there. But if there are problems, how it has to be eradicated? It has to be eradicated, number one, by attitude. Not losing your cool, because if you lose your cool on one of your subordinates, then he or she will keep in the mind. They may not be able to say anything, but they will keep in the mind, and that attitude will have a little problem. The time, right? Actually, all of you must score more than 100. I don't see any reason. What is your score?
70.
70. What are the problem areas?
Interruption because of interruption.
Oh yes, assertiveness is a problem. Last time we discussed.
I need to address the problems.
Better no. 1 minute. You cannot say no to the interruptions of your juniors. Now, if you interruptions for the juniors, then you have to identify why they interrupt. Whether it is their attitude or whether while communicating you have not communicated adequately. Because if a problem persists, you have to identify it. No? Yes.
I want to say something.
Yes, please.
Whatever you are saying is quite ideal situation.
No, I am not saying ideal situation. I am saying only perfection is never arrived. I am not saying you should be perfect. I am not saying 100% score. But I am saying more than 100, it must be there. If it is less than 100, then it is necessary to identify.
So our day-to-day life it is like that. We have been assigned, or we have been, our job is that people will come to you and you have to solve their problems. Okay? But since we are, that the frequency is less and we are free, we can do some other task. Okay, so now the two things has been assigned to us. One thing is that to cater or resolve the problem of the juniors that will be coming into, And since the frequency we have seen is less, we have given you other task as well. Correct. Now when both the things is in our plate, at that time that frequency may juniors coming to us may increase. Because of that we are not able to do our task on time. So that is where we are not able to say to
if I have understood you properly, you mean because you are doing two areas, one leading the team, other you have some other tasks.
Yes.
Because of these two areas, your team members come to you and disturb you more.
Yes.
That means while addressing your team members, there is some development need. Right or wrong? No, if you don't agree, then frankly I would welcome when you dissent, because then only we can see something useful coming out. If you say, no, have I understood properly?
Yes.
So that means there is a development need while you are addressing those team members. You are not adequately informed. Why? Because you have said that you have your assignment. How you would solve this problem? How he should solve this problem, you tell.
What he needs to prioritize, secondly, his team members just to train someplace, rather he needs to communicate what exactly they are looking
There's no communication. You see, you have to communicate. If the team, if any member of the team does not know the job properly, you have to coach. If you don't want repetitive interruptions, no, he is not interrupting just to trouble you, or she is not interrupting. They are interrupting because there is a genuine need. If they don't come to them, they are stuck with time and unnecessarily everything is getting late. Now, therefore, you said because you have two areas, therefore the problem is arise. I don't think so. I think it is your prioritizing, how you dividing. Okay, these are my jobs and these are the jobs which I have to get it done from the team. So this is how I should do it. No, you.
Yes, that may be correct for as an individual because there are many people in the room.
Beta, every person has different problems.
Yes, exactly.
Therefore, if we just give a lecture on time management, it doesn't serve any purpose. Lectures don't serve any purpose. In fact, lectures if you are giving to your juniors, that will also not serve any purpose.
Secondly, actually, we are working with UK clients. So still I do morning and do I create a to-do list. Okay. And what the day progress of UK actually, the way the priority changed because the things are coming often from their side and which is required from them on urgent basis. So what I created my to-do list is was a low priority and again I need to work on those priority items. And then suddenly my priority again goes back to the next day. And or maybe I need to stage, anyway, that happens. It is like, because we are more dealing with UK customers, the need from their side is more important for us.
Definitely they are customers.
That way actually it happens and then we keep on either staging or maybe one day different stage, otherwise the task goes to the next day.
No, what I am saying is, this is not one day problem.
Okay.
These interruptions from the clients are coming frequently. So if the interruptions are coming frequently, you have to find an appropriate solution. So then, according to me, what you have to do is, you have to provide so much time. At what time you don't know. What time he calls you don't know. But you have to provide 1 hour I am providing only for interruptions from the client. Because client interruption, you cannot, they have to be given priority. If your client gives a ring, you cannot say, first I will do my job and then I will call. Yeah? So you have to provide. Do you provide that time for interruptions? But have you studied how much time normally these interruptions take? Because every interruption to be handled will take some time, no? See, life, there is one course very popular, Art of Living. Actually, it should not be Art of Living. It should be science of it. If there is no art of working, it should be science of working. You study, and you will find regularly same things are happening, more or less, not 100%, more or less same problems are coming. Now, for you it is necessary to first study your time, understand the problems, then quantify those problems, then provide for it. Because if you are under stress, it is not good. And the way, for example, you have also said, if they come and disturb time and again. So, if you identify, you will find either one or two persons are such who are creating problems, or you will find that when you communicate, you allot the work, you sometimes take this particular job he must be knowing. So at that time you don't explain to him or her. So you have to identify, because if you identify, then you will resolve. But if you don't identify, how you will resolve? So then you will keep on staying under pressure.
It is not more on the pressure, but it is more on the time stretch kind of thing.
But the time stretch, I say, if working time for you is 9 hours or 8 hours, you should not be in the office for half an hour more or 1 hour. No, but it is not happening. Not only you. Vodafone senior people we were addressing, and they also have the same problem. The problem is not time to 24 hours रहेगा. And at the time of employment, those guys, those companies, these foreign banks, etc., they say, okay, we'll give you what you want, but your job is 24/7. Now, this is what they say. Then they give the target. Then if they give the target, the person who accepts the target has a possibility to say that this is not possible, assertiveness. And then he or she should explain why it is not possible. And that's why they say okay. Now, if they say okay, then later on they'll say you said okay. Now why you are not doing? So similar, maybe not exactly the same, but similar things must be happening in your organizations also. You have come from bigger organization, so everything was going on very smoothly.
No, not really.
So what would the problem say?
It's been a mix of issues. I suppose there's nothing in the organization. It depends upon various customers and various subunits. It depends upon the way things are communicated with the customer.
Well, this is very important. The way things are communicated to the customers. And
I have typically seen, not in Mastec as such, but I've seen tendency of people. For example, let's say a project manager is working on a project, and let's say he has kind of put down his paper and he is about to leave the organization. And I've seen the project manager bluffing a lot of things to customer, saying things are almost in 50%, 60% upfront, and the project was not started at the first place. So I have seen certain situations wherein then at a certain point of time, the solutioning or the servicing company is not able to get back to the customer saying it was a false lead.
this is actually a practical problem. These problems are not happening only in the company that you were serving. These are happening many places. Many places. And why they are happening? At the time when they want the business, they will accept everything, which is wrong.
I suppose it's not in terms of customer and companies. I think even in terms of individuals, when we go for an interview, for example, and if the person is interviewing asks, okay, there will be pressure and you will need to work on Saturday and Sunday, you need to put in extra efforts. The person at that point of time thinks, yes, I will do it. But when it comes on ground, on reality, we start to think about saying it's pressure.
No, I think to some extent what you say is right. When I need the job, so I say okay, I'll do it. Instead of saying at least this much, you can say I'll do my best. Rather than saying yes, I will be there 24/7. People accept still because the packet, salary packet is very high, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. In those, you know what they do, in a particularly mobile company, if 1 rupee per subscriber is received more, it runs into crores. The customer base is so strong. Now what they do, they divide into regions. So they divide into region. Now in each region, some other operators are also operating. So there is competition. Those operators are giving freebies. You receive these messages off and on. Now those, but they are not the same. Their position is not the same as, for example, Vodafone or Airtel. Airtel is number 1, after that is Vodafone. Now, if, for example, C company reduces the price, okay, 1 paisa per second, and only number of seconds you pay that. Now, if Vodafone also does it, Vodafone will start losing money because the customer base is very large. And the other person, he or she wants to increase the customer base. So situations are different. Therefore, I say everything, if you study as a science, the scientist, what he does, he tries one thing, he fails. Then he tries another, he fails, another. So patiently you keep on doing, you will come to the crux of the problem. And once the problem is identified, because of your experience, you apply your mind and you will find a solution. See, otherwise, cribbing, is it good? It's not good. Life, most of the time, most of your important time, waking time, is in your work, not at home. So in your work, if you are happy, then you are a happy person. In work, if you are under pressure or not so happy, so then the same thing will continue maybe when you go home, etc. Yes. So what are your problems? No, don't come here. You see, that too I wanted, okay, record. We'll have many other presentations and record. There is nothing. Yes.
One of the problems that I face with the clients meetings that we have normally runs out of the agenda and expands.
Yes.
So that kills.
Why it runs out of it? Who controls the meeting?
Client.
No, client of
controls
course.
them. So,
but who from your side, vendor side?
and
You are the person. You are the person, you go with an agenda.
no, actually the agenda is from their side.
Okay, their agenda, but you have to resolve that agenda. You have to discuss that. So what do you do if the client starts talking something else?
I mean, initially the agenda is over and then they start discussing other stuff also. So at that point it is difficult to tell them that, okay, we cannot include that.
No,
provide that.
they start discussing
Other stuff apart
other
from that
stuff.
set agenda.
What kind of stuff?
Checking about some different resourcing requirements or of that sort,
But
which is
that-
important to the business for us.
That's not important.
Which is important to us.
Which is important to us. Then it is you have to provide, it is a part of the agenda.
But in the invite which is sent, that is not a part of the agenda. So I am not.
No, I agree with you, but I say if you are facing this situation with every customer, okay, our meetings they are extended because of this thing, then you have to provide plus half an hour for other stuff. Right or wrong? Because out of your experience, if this thing is happening, and you say, the meeting should end. If it is not ending, and you say it should end, it is not ending, You have to find out the reasons. And I tell you, the reasons you will be able to find out, they will be very similar. They will be very similar. But that requires application of mind, that requires your decision. Okay, this is what I will identify. Any problem, it requires a decision. So now the problem arises when we are not assertive. Assertiveness does not mean that you should point blank say no. It's not a part of the agenda, I have not discussed. Assertiveness means you should have ability to mold your language, to speak, to mold your voice in such a fashion, sir or madam or whatever you say, Ram or Sham, whatever. So, it's so nice. Yes, I have noted down. In my next meeting or whatever you want me to think or work out, before I come to you next, please let me know and try to find out. Because if they are sitting in their office, they have, I'm not talking, every office must be different and every client must be different. But since you have pressures back home, you have to, there again it's a communication. It's a communication and self-awareness. Self-awareness, importance of time. Now, your score is how much?
82.
82. So where you have lost? You see, you will be different. Other persons will, each person will be different. Because we are different individuals.
So meetings agenda was one of the things, and then now the interruptions that everybody is speaking about. So that is common for me as well.
Interruptions and meetings. How many meetings you have in a week, for example?
In a day, at least I have 2 to 3.
2 to 3. So that means meetings are quite a lot of, quite an important issue for me. So typically one meeting lasts for how long?
Scheduled to last for 30 to 45 minutes, but then 10 to 15 minutes overrun is pretty common across.
So 10 to 15 minutes, and you see, you have to say okay 10 to 15 minutes because they start talking other stuff. But that half an hour to 45 minutes, do you have that big agenda that you, then it's okay. Then you have to provide your time.